Hello everyone, Snapshipaz here with another video, and today you can see it looks like rather a mess on my table here, but today I'm going to do something a bit different. Not going to be building ships or an unboxing, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you about these acrylic markers, metallic colour pens that I've found. They were cheap from over here in the UK, Poundland. They came in a red carton. There was 2 different packs, so I thought, oh, you know what, I'm going to grab them because I've been experimenting with my son's acrylic pens that he uses. And I tell you what, some of the results have been absolutely brilliant, especially with these metallic ones. So if I get here, this is one that is painted originally from one of the sets, and then this is one that I've done using these pens. So I wanted to share that info out. Now originally I did start painting up with some non-metallic. This one's just got purple on it. Don't know if you can see that properly, but I wanted to show what these pens are capable of doing and how you can use them on all the different parts. I've got some weapons down here that I've been working on. We've got the fins here, mainly from the complex that I've been adding little details from. I've also got some forged parts over here, which I've done some work on. And yeah, so what I've been using is the app off the iPad, Apple iOS. And I've been using that to move the ships around and just to see where I can just add a bit of colour to help bring that bit of life to them. So yeah, with that being said, let's get on. So the main one we're going to be using for the complexes, because they're already dark colours, is the silvers. Now there is one piece that I've already done work to. As you can see, both sides of the blades is silver, and I tell you what, it comes up rather nice. It really does. These paint pens are quick drying, so you do need to go over with a light coat and then go over with another coat afterwards, just ever so lightly, but it applies ever so easy. I have got a couple of pieces out here, so this one is painted from one of the sets and this one isn't. So what I'm going to do to demonstrate is I'm just going to use this because it's quite a flat panel curve. We'll take the lid off, and it's ever so simple, ever so easy, and just try and keep a steady hand. I've got my arms resting on my table here, and I'm just following those lines, starting off with the edges. And as you can see already, it's starting to leave, it's starting to dry. As I say, it is quick dry. And then I'll go back and do the other edge down here, ever so lightly, just apply no pressure. Doesn't matter if I go in that middle bit there, because that's going to get painted anyway. And then go across the top and the bottom. So with these, as I say, they are quick drying, but if you're quick enough that if you make a mistake, you can give it a couple of rubs, and with your finger or something like a cotton bud if you want, and just get rid of that mistake. Now here I've done the silver in the middle, because it's quite flat, it's gone rather patchy. That will happen, but once that's dried properly, we'll leave that to one side. We'll give that a second coat. It's the same for pieces like these that we get. They sometimes are painted, sometimes aren't. So we're going to get that, and we're going to do this inside middle bit here. Again, following the strokes. Try and get in between if you can. As I say, don't worry too much about mistakes. Now, the only issue that I have with these paint pens is that the tips of them are quite thick, so getting into smaller areas is going to be hard. Now, if you did want to follow off on the app, there are some areas like on this where the inside is gold, bit of purple, bit of gold and silvers around it, and these pens aren't ideal for that. But try to keep in uniformity if like you've got 2 or more ships out and you want to keep them uniform and looking very similar, then this is just a great cheap way of doing that. So again, we'll revisit that one in a second there. I don't know why I've kept 2 of them out. They came pre-painted. I'll put them ones to one side now. And then, yeah, onto fins. So already, I've already got the burgundy colour there, and I've already started painting black. Now, on some of these, I already have silver down. Did I keep that one out? I can't remember if I did. Yes, so, okay, different kind of blade to the one I've picked up. But this one already came with painted silver, but I've already started painting it black. That was before I got these markers, but we can always touch up. So adding black and silver onto these will help it to match the app and hopefully be aesthetically pleasing. So let's start off with this one here. So if you notice, it's just this part that's silver for now. The top edge here isn't, but on the app it will be. So we'll be going over that. So let's just get going. And what I've tried to do is follow the edge there in one swift motion. And then follow down there. So we've got the edges done to that. Right. So now it doesn't matter how clean we are. Try and follow the same brush strokes all the way along. You can see it is patching up already, but as I say, a second coat of this stuff will soon sort that out. Keep following it down. Right, so now we get to the edges where the 2 colours should join and just run it along. Keep going. And then it blends it right in. Same with this side. This side is the already painted side. So come away, pull, and there we go. Nice and easy. This is the top section here. And this top section is not painted, but we're going to do that because it's all one metallic piece. If, as I say, if you look on the app, if you've got access. If you haven't and you want reference videos, give me a shout and I'll see what I could do about getting sent over or uploading some reference videos. Now, that's the side we've just painted. Again, it is a bit patchy, but that's something we'll get revisiting to. Now, the first piece, that's dry. Touch, nothing's coming off, that's dry. So now, following the similar direction of brush strokes all the way down. And look, I've just made a mistake there. So just running my finger into that groove there, and that gets it rid. Then keep following all the way, a similar stroke pattern all the way along. Now, some of these bigger flat ends, you might need a 3rd coat, but already that is looking much better. Let's get this one again. And following light, same directional strokes all the way along. As I say, some pieces might need a 3rd coat, some pieces might need just 2 coats. But if you take your time, you can apply this to any of it. Let's swap out colours. So, these guns here, they came with silver painted on, and I noticed on the app, they've got red on them. So I did try and paint them red. That red wasn't so good, but I have this metallic red that I've not used yet. That came in this pen set. So what I'm going to do is just go over those areas ever so lightly. I don't intend to fully paint them all red. What I want to do is try and build up a blend of the red and the metallic like that. And you know what? as that's already starting to set, you can see red and metallic. It gives it that shine, like a power output going through it, like it's ready to be activated. I really do like that. I love that effect. So all I've done is just gone down the middle, a bit on there. It's not the most vibrant of metallic reds, but having a backing colour behind will help. So like I mentioned earlier, I was doing these purple and then I've ended up putting the metallic on top, and I felt that having that purple backing colour really did help with that. So yeah, I mean, like, let's have a look at some of the forge parts now. That's quite a dulled down blue that comes pre-painted there. Using some acrylic paints, it's quite bright here, but from the top and the bottom, it is noticeable. If you really want to scrutinise, it's going to be hard to find a matching colour that will do that, that is non-metallic. I have thought about painting over the metallic, but I don't want to mess up with that symbol. My hand isn't very good for that, but it's just one of those things. I mean, you can use Sharpies as well for the black. I mean, we've got silver here that are already painted up, but not on the other side. So that's one I'm going to be working on soon as well, getting them up. Same with these, we've got silver all the way around, not these edges, and then not on the underside. So that, again, some of these areas might be a bit tricky and intricate, so it might be worth using maybe a bit of blue tack and masking tape to help with that. These fins here, these should be quite standard. I have noticed that this does go really well onto black. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to show you on this one. I like to either hold the blade, depending on which way I want to stroke across, or use the swivel point here. So on this piece, we're just going to go across ever so slow, ever so gentle, taking time there, and then I'll bring it down. Now, as I say, I've got my arms resting on my table. I'm going to try and poke a bit of paint into those areas there, like so. It does help with an understanding if you've painted before. Like for me, I used to do Warhammer, and I had over 20 years experience in Warhammer, and that does help, you know, learning techniques and painting, the understanding of applying. So there you go. Already you can see the silver's gone on that side and that side. Again, we'll run over a second coat. Now I'm just looking at the lines following the blade. We want to mirror that. We don't want to do the entire blade and mess it all up. So we'll come this way to there. To there, like so. And then you can see the angular point on the blade, and it follows all the way along there. So keep it to the side with the tip up. So that will need a second coat like all the others. We'll do the edge here. Do down here on this edge. And underneath there, like so. Already you can see it's starting to match. It looks rather uniform. Again, a second coat. Now let's just revisit this first one. Okay, so it's come up better. So we will need a third coat along here. And there, come on, nice gentle brushes like so. Have we made a mistake on there? Yes, we have. Now, as you can see, I'm just using my nail and a bit of my finger there, and I got rid of that mistake there. Let's blotch a bit more onto here. There we go. You won't ever get it perfect like the factory. They have special machines and special equipment that will do that. Sadly, I don't think most of us have got them. But, you know, it's just making the most of what we can get a hold of. Gold I haven't used, but I did notice on the app that with some of these, where did I put that one? There it is. So with some of these, the swivel points here, which we connect these fins to, that this piece here is gold. It is on burgundy, so I don't know. We're just going to give it a go and see how it turns out. It will probably need a couple of coats, but this gold is applying quite nicely already. And so we'll give it that gold edge to it. So with these connecting pieces that swivel as well, if you look on the app, there are purples in there as well, in between these nooks and crannies. With these pens, you're not going to do that. You're just going to make more of a mess and be unhappy with how it looks. So I really wouldn't recommend doing that. Now, I could, if I really wanted to, I could have gone back to the paints that I used to do and all the old brushes, but I got out of that business for a reason. It was very expensive and it was very, very draining and time consuming, so I didn't want to go back into that. That's the first layer of gold, and that applied quite nicely there, that did. So now I'm just going to flip this piece over. I'm going to return to our silver, and I'm just going to reapply a second coat along this edge here. Following nice steady hand, steady movements. Following the line, get into the bulkier areas, just keep going over to fill them. And there we go. Let's just check the edges. The edges all the way around look fine. Try not to put your fingers on it while it's wet. You'll just pull it up, make a bit of a mess and have to go back over. So yeah, that's that one done. I've just got to grab my black. I didn't grab my black out of the other set of pens that I've got. This is the black that I was using to do the outer edges area here. So whilst that one's drying, I'm going to use this black. This is just something that was bought off Amazon, acrylic marker. As you can see, lots of Chinese writing. It was rather cheap, not very expensive at all. And so now I'm just going to go over all this burgundy area, and hopefully you can see that on the camera. It's burgundy and black, so it's not the greatest contrasting of colours for camera work, but we have to work with it. Keep going along. So let's try and get some pen into it. There we go. The ink is now coming out better. Good lighting as well does help. I'm trying to use natural light. Natural light is the best form of light when it comes to painting and to being able to see corners and shadings and stuff. But if you've got a lamp, that should be fine. Make sure the area is well lit. Try and get a couple of lamps so you don't get any big shadows, you know, from when you're moving around and stuff. And yeah, it should really help. They're not necessities, they're not needed. Let's go down these inside edge here as best as we can. And I'm doing this whilst that other layer is drying, so I'm trying not to touch it so as not to disturb the drying process. Let's put it across there like so, across this bit there. Let's return to here, keep going. So whilst I'm just doing this, I'd like to remind you to subscribe and like the videos and the channel. Get it all shared out on your social media if you do. If you want to see more content, then please let me know. If you have any requests for certain builds, anything that I can try and help with, even if I don't fully understand myself, maybe certain aspects of this game, then please just let me know, because I will find out and I can get it back to you. You know, as I mentioned in previous videos, the Discord channel is a great place for people to go and people to ask questions and communicate. So yeah, that coat down there still isn't dry fully. It still, as the lightest of touches, it just feels a bit tacky. So, and when I mean tacky, a bit like sticky. So we're not gonna touch there, but I'm gonna take this gold again now, and I'm gonna apply a second coat, and oh, it's coming up much brighter already. So this is the gold. I'm finding it a bit difficult because there's places I want to hold, but I can't. So let's get into all these little bits and nooks and crannies there. And across there like so. There we go. And there we go. So already you can turn a burgundy colour part, whether it be a complex thin, by using a bit of silver, by a bit of black and a bit of gold. You can make it really stand out, really pop on the tabletop. If you've got 2 or 3 ships that you want to look really uniform, but you just didn't buy the same sets or they were painted differently, then get onto these. It helps it make it look uniform. I have seen some great work out there of people where it took real deep time and concentration and hard work into painting almost every part on their ship, and they absolutely look fantastic. But sadly, that's something not for me. So I won't be going into that level of detail, but this is more a video of how you don't have to spend tons of money. I mean, over here, these pens alone just cost me £2.50 for 2 packs. There was 4 in a pack. I thought, get them, worth a try, and they seem to be working great. As I say, with these, there's a lot of sitting around that I'm going to be doing, just sitting here and painting up these edges here, on the undersides here. I'm going to look into details for these connecting pieces. Are there any on there? I'm not too sure. The one thing to remember as well is, like, these are the wings off the interceptors, and as you can see, that they were painted differently. So this one originally came with this outside edge and across here painted, but this one's come with this inside edge painted. So with that one, it's not mirrored on this side, and we've got these stripes. Now I'm going to work really hard to get that mirrored across in a very, very similar way. I might have to use masking tape across the top to create a stencil and then just stick it to this side, and hopefully that'll work. That's something I'll do a bit more advanced when I'm feeling up to the challenge of doing that one. I'll do that in another video, but let's just revisit this one. I'm hoping you can see, but the metallic reds have come through with that red still remaining behind. It gives it that energetic glow. I think that looks really nice, really effective, you know, especially on the right lighting and on a model. That'll look really, really good. So, yeah. if you're out and about, if this is something that interests you, that you wanted to have a little play around with painting your ships, make them look a bit more uniform, then you don't have to go expensive. You don't have to buy all the brushes, all the paints, all the thinners. You don't need an airbrush kit, and you don't need ours. I found these pens. There are metallic paint pen, colour pens, and acrylic pens there, and I've just sat there and I've done a couple up. It's out there. There's always ways of doing things without having all the massive setup. So, you know, I'm going to end the video here. I hope you've liked it. I hope it's been useful for you. You know, I hope you've got a bit of confidence out of it. It is easy to paint these pieces up. As you can see, this one needs a second coat. Off camera, I'll give that a second coat. I will do a future video where all of these, and not just these, and many more pieces that I've got lying around are painted up, and we'll come back. I've got the new wasp and falcons from the last video sat over there. I want to do some work on those as well. Painting the underside of the wasp wings, looking at the falcons and seeing what details can be added onto that as well, just to help them stand out a bit more. I'm going to wrap it up here now, guys. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, share the channel. Let's help the channel build. Let's build the community. I'll try and bring you as much content as I can. I hope you enjoyed the video. This is Az signing off.
Snap ships build to battle.